All right, guys, I'm here at 5 Stones Jiu-Jitsu with my student, Michael Stoller. Michael, thanks for helping out today.
You're
we
welcome.
also got behind the scenes Chris. Go ahead and pan the camera. And we got Orlando behind the camera. Orlando, say hi. So I'm going to show you guys a comprehensive view in how to get out of a closed guard. I'm going to go a bit deeper than I usually go. Most of my videos on this channel are probably like 2 to 3 minutes in length. This one will probably end up being more around the 10-minute length mark, okay? I'm going to break this up into 3 separate battles, okay? First is the battle for head position. Second is the battle for hip position. Third is the battle for posture, okay? So those are kind of the 3 things I'm going to hone in on. Obviously, there are a bunch of different ways one could categorize or go about subdividing how to get out of a closed guard. That's just the structure that I've decided for this instructional, or this mini video, rather, should I say, not instructional, okay? So I'm not charging you, okay? If I was charging you, I'd call it instructional, all right? So we're here. I'm in a closed guard situation. So first thing, arguably, that I want to negate my opponent is control of my head, right? Anytime that Stoller gets direct contact on my head, that's going to be an advantage for him and a disadvantage for me, okay? His contact on my head is going to stop me from being able to perform what is arguably the highest percentage escape from a closed guard, which is standing back up to my feet vertical. Now, I know you will see a bunch of different methods of breaking a closed guard open on the internet, on YouTube inclusively, okay? However, with that said, what I'm trying to teach you is what is the method that has proven time and time again to work at the highest levels at a consistent basis. Remember that when we look at the elite level athletes, the reason why we want to draw techniques from them is because elite level defense works against elite level offense, okay? You don't say to yourself, oh, like this guy's elite, I'm not gonna be able to do what he does. Remember that the elite offensive man is also going against an elite defensive man. Okay, so there's this clashing of 2 very skilled practitioners. And guess what? If you can learn to do the same method that they're using, you'll probably have very good success performing it at your local gym. All right, so first things first is going to be the battle for head. The main way I'm going to win the battle for head control is by retaining inside control. If my elbows are outside of Stoller's elbows and wrists, he's going to be able to get control of my head directly, okay? The one grip that I want to tell you to constantly get back to, there are a variety of different grips you can employ in a closed guard. However, the one that I find to be the most helpful is an inside bicep tie. Why? More than anything else, an inside bicep tie allows me to use my elbows to combat my opponent's elbows as well. So say, for example, if Stoller tries to reach around and directly to my head, I can flare my elbow and keep his hand out from reaching my head, okay? Say, for example, if I was posting on his hip, now my head would be exposed and he could get to my head and start to pull my head down. Okay, a bicep tie won't allow him to do that. If he tries to come up to my head, I can flare my elbow open and prevent his wrist from reaching. The other reason I like a bicep tie is because it has a multi-purpose use. I can flare to prevent the upwards reach, but if my opponent tries to reach out and in, I can also close my elbow and prevent him from reaching up the middle, right? So if Stoller's smart, he'll pommel this wrist to inside position, and now he'll get up to my head and manage to control. But I don't have to allow that to happen. When he goes to pommel that wrist inside, I will close my elbow to his body. So now, as he goes to reach for my head, he can't get over the inside position. He goes up back over the top, I block. He goes back inside, I block as well. So it's a great grip that has a good multi-use. Obviously, there are other grips you can use. This is the one that I'm going to push you towards because it's the one that I find to be the best overall and have the best multi-purpose use, right? So we do have other grips that say, for example, an armpit post and whatnot. In this case, Stoller's arms are actually longer than mine. So Stoller can still reach my head. Yes, exactly, with an armpit post, okay? Whereas with a bicep tie, Stoller still tries to reach my head. Go ahead, over the top. He can't reach my head, okay? Even with the length discrepancy here, okay? Now, with that said, now let's look at the battle of the hips. Generally speaking, I want to keep Stoller's hips in between my knees. Anytime Stoller manages to start getting his hips asymmetrical to mine and start working his hips out to an angle, that's going to be really, really bad for me as the guy inside the guard. So say, for example, Stoller here manages to start shifting his hips off to one side, exactly, start getting to these side scissor situations. This is very, very bad for me, okay? He has all sorts of clamp attacks. He has back takes from here. A lot of very dangerous things for me, okay? So again, the more that Stoller, now shift out this way, this time Stoller. Good. The more that he manages to shift out to an angle with me, and now our hips are asymmetrical with each other, as you can see, the less I'm going to be able to employ defensive measures from here. The more he's going to be able to launch upper body attacks. Triangles, arm bars, clamp, back takes, they're all available to him here. So the moment I start to see my opponent start to make an angle with his hips, watch what I do. First off, if he has an inside position with his hand, I will take my hand back inside and get back to an inside position. But I won't free my head until I address the hip first, because there's no point in freeing my head. Say, for example, he has hip angle here. Even if I free my head, it doesn't matter. He still has great hip angle. He can still attack, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do from here is I'm going to pick up my knee, cover his hip, and as I cover his hip, I'm going to put weight on that knee and re-square ourselves, like so. Now we're re-squared with each other, okay? He still has my head, no problem. I flare my elbow, take my head, and pommel out. Once again, he's going to work out to an angle. He has control of my head, okay? I'm going to keep my head glued to his chest. From here, I'm going to pick up my left knee, like so. I'm going to block his hip on the outside, okay? If I simply try to go there, no, just keep the angle. He's going to keep the angle. If, on the other hand, I wedge his hip in place with my knee, now when I go there, he cannot follow. It's very hard for him to follow, okay? So I'll negate him his hip angle first. He's on my head. I will take my elbow, flare my elbow, pommel my head, and now my head's free again, okay? So once again, I've managed to win the battle of the head, and I've managed to win the battle of hips, okay? Mainly that I want to keep his hips as symmetrical as possible to mine to deny and negate him advantage of angle. Now let's look at how to start building up to our feet, which brings me to my third point, the battle for posture. Ultimately, what I want to do is I want to stand back up all the way to my feet. It's going to be the hardest way for him to control my head and my shoulders if I stand all the way back up to my feet. How we do this is important, okay? The way I'm going to start to stand up to my feet is I'm going to use basically a windshield wiper effect with my legs, okay? Where from here, first thing I do is I bring my head towards my opponent's head to take weight off my legs. You're not going to be able to build up if your head is directly over your legs. So I win the battle for inside position. I bring my head forward, and now once I bring my head forward, watch how my feet start to make an angle. Okay? What you want to stay away from is this type of build. Okay? This very slow, cumbersome type of build. Instead, what I will do is I will windshield wiper my feet off to one side as I build up to this closed guard situation. From here, I will now start to put weight back on my left foot and now push off that left foot to build with authority back to my right foot. One more time, let's look at this again. From here, I'm in a situation where I want to build. This time I'll do it the opposite way. From here, I draw my body weight forward to take weight off my legs. From here, I will windshield wiper my feet off to one side as I build up to one foot. Now I'm in a split squat. I'm in a foot and a knee. Now this foot can bear weight. I will put weight over that foot and build up to 2 feet. Now off this 2 feet position, let's look at how to get to a complete posture. This is where a lot of people start to go wrong. From here, what a lot of people try to do is they try to posture all the way up like so, okay? And it can be very heavy, especially if my opponent's knees are close to my armpit. Close to my armpit? Yeah, if my opponent's legs are high, okay? It's a lot of weight for me to be able to get up. What I will do is I will use my opponent, his body is like a ladder of sorts, where I'll climb up off of it. So from here, my hands are going to transfer from his biceps to his pecs. From his pecs to his lower pecs. From his lower pecs to his lower ribs. From his lower ribs to his hip. And now from his hip to his thigh. And now I'm all the way up. He'll probably be holding on to my ankles at this point. Once I'm all the way up in this position, there's a variety of different ways of going about unlocking the legs. Certainly a great one is to reach back and start to pry the legs open by posting my own hand on my butt, like so. And now from here, I flare my elbow. And that starts to unlock the legs. The moment you unlock the legs, take weight, place weight over one foot. Now that I place the weight over that foot, I pommel my leg out and I step back and out, okay? We'll look at in a moment here what we want to do once we step a leg out. But first, I want to emphasize the building up of the hands. You want to make sure you walk your hands up like a ladder up his body. This is very important. So once again, I've managed to win the battle for inside position. From here, I windshield wiper my legs.
3, 2,
and now I build up to my right foot.
rest.
Up to 2 feet. Now from here, I start to transfer my grips and I walk up his body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm up in this position here. Stoller will tell you, for him to attack me in this position, much harder than when I was down. From here, I will take my weight over 1 foot and make a weightless foot. Off that weightless foot, I will pommel up and out.
3, 2,
and as I pommel up and out, I will break the legs open. Now from here, it's very important that I do not allow Stoller to get inside knee position to start to throw up an ashigarami. Exactly. So the moment I start to break the guard open, I'm here, I start to break the guard open and pommel out. As he goes to get that inside knee position, I will close my knees together like so. So Stoller tries to get inside knee position, I end up in this situation here, where basically my knees are close together. I'm off to a flank, off to one side, and as his hips drop to the mat, I'll immediately score the ankles. Now off this ankle position, from here, if you want, you can simply disengage and now start to pass the guard without being in a closed guard situation. Did I get off frame there?
Just for a second, yeah.
Just for a second? Okay, that's no problem. Come this way a little bit more, Stoller. Good, let's look at this again, one more time. I get to an inside bicep tie, okay? I windshield wiper up. I build. Now let's ask the question, what if he gets my head when I'm here? No problem. I take his hand to his wrist. I roll his wrist off my head, and I pop it off. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I build up to this position here. They're going to be trying to take you backwards. I'm keeping my head forward as best of my ability. From here, I reach back, pommel, and flare. They're going to try to get inside knee position. Yes, that's what they want. Okay, if my knees are far apart from each other, he'll get it every time. Okay, go back. So the moment, close your guard again. The moment I break that guard open, my knees close. So he gets that inside knee position, very hard. From here, I find the ankles, and I neutralize the leg via the ankles. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways I can start passing here, okay? But for the sake of simplicity, all I will do is disengage, and now I'm back in front of my opponent ready to pass with a different type of passing method, okay? Now, very last thing I want to go over is one of the biggest criticisms. How long has the video been so far, Orlando?
5 minutes and 30. I think
Okay,
5
that's
minutes.
fine.
Yeah.
I'll just keep going, okay?
Maybe 3 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, that's definitely not 3 minutes. Okay, my cameraman has no sense of time, all right?
Well, there's like a 5, then a 3, then the seconds.
Okay, all right. Last thing I want to go over here is arguably what is one of the biggest criticisms that people will have against this method of opening a closed guard, which is, hey man, I get that you like that method, but aren't you risking yourself being knocked back to your ass when you go to stand up? The answer is yes. In a sense, there is a legitimate risk that against a good opponent, there is some chance, maybe even a good chance, that I could get knocked back to my ass. However, with that said, understand that when we're playing the statistics game, okay, what is statistically more dangerous for me? For me to stay on my knees down inside of my opponent's closed guard, or for me to stand up vertical and then maybe also risk getting knocked down to a hip, okay? Understand that when I'm in a closed guard, as long as I stay down on my knees, statistically speaking, my chances of submitting my opponent are very low. His chances of submitting me, even if they're not high, say for example he sucks, all right? Even if they're not high, they're certainly higher than mine, okay? At least against a good guy they will be, all right? Also, my chances of scoring points against him. What points can I score while I'm still inside his closed guard? On the other hand, his chances of scoring points on me from this position are much higher, okay? Therefore, for that reason, I'm going to advise building up to a vertical posture, okay? Now, the statistics change here. Now, the question becomes, what happens if he does knock you down to your ass? Understand, if your opponent manages to knock you down to your ass, the battle is not completely lost from here, okay? Again, let's take a moment to analyze this situation. What are Stoller's chances of being able to submit me from this situation? Are they higher than they were in the close guard situation? I would argue they're not. Inside of his close guard, there's a much higher chance of him being able to submit me than he is here. So then the question becomes, okay, what are his chances of scoring points? Okay, his chances of scoring points are certainly good in this situation. However, it's not impossible to address this situation if you know how to do so. The nice thing about this situation is that even though he's managed to knock me down to my ass, I still have the advantage of having my feet on bottom. Because my feet are on bottom, he has no direct contact with the mat, at least not if I decide to negate it. So from here, what I will do, keep my ankles for a second. What I will do is I will lean back, pinch my knees, and shoot my hips up into the air. That will expose his ankles to me. I will V-grip his under his Achilles, and I'll begin to push forward and build head height. Now his head's very low, my head's much higher. From here, I will take a foot out, pommel, create a top leg and a bottom leg, hand goes to the mat, I heist, and now once again, I'm in a great situation to start guard passing from somewhere different. I will disengage, and now from here, I will continue to pass. One more time. Again, last thing we're going over is this idea that what happens if he knocks me down on my ass? No problem. That can happen. From here, I start to build head height. I walk. This guy manages to knock me down to my ass. I will lean back. His ankles are on either side of my body. I will pinch my knees and thrust my hips up into the air. Like so. That will expose his feet to me. I will V-grip under his feet and pop and build head height. Try to build head height. He can't build head height. Not as long as he has my ankles. Okay? If he's going to build head height, he has to let go of my ankles. Okay? And the moment he lets go of an ankle, now I can start to build. Okay? But in either case, if he still holds onto my ankle, I will pommel one out, create a top leg and a bottom leg. I put a hand on the mat, keep an ankle. Now I have a lot of head height. His chances of scoring points on me here are very low. Okay? From here, I will get up to the standing position. Once again, he still has an ankle. I will disengage, come back, and continue to pass from a different situation. Okay? So I had someone request this video from me. Somebody I spoke to on the phone. They were having trouble with a specific close guard situation. I thought my YouTube audience would benefit from it as well. I hope you enjoyed this. If there's any other type of content you want to see, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. If you're in the Massachusetts area, don't hesitate to come check out 5 Stone Stoller. Thank you so much for the help. Chris, thanks for watching. Orlando, you're a good cameraman.